I do fancy Nigeria, but it is Cote d'Ivoire and it is at home. It is looking more like a host and win.
For me, Nigeria cannot win.
I think Nigeria will win.
Ivory Coast.
Okay.
All right, there's no G in South Africa, and yet the guys with their names starting with G are the ones getting dragged. Ghana didn't play any semi-final match at this AFCON, and yet Ghanaians are catching all the heat. Because why? Because Nigeria have made the AFCON final for the first time since 2013. Exactly 11 years. Omo Niger, well done. I'm not even going to sit here and pretend. All the Nigerians in the comment section, we see you all. I see you all. All the insults. He paid me. Yes, he paid me. Is it Michael Blackson that said that? Hey, sorry, the guys are here. No.
Sorry, you're doing a one-man show here.
You've not seen the insult.
The thing enter you.
I have a selection of.
One of them then say when analysis be olofofo.
What is the meaning of that? What does that mean?
We are exposing their tactics.
Nigerians, they don't get chill. This is why they can't win the AFCON.
I agree with them.
This is why they should not win the AFCON.
I've been backing them to win it. So
they deserve to win it. If they were to win it, they deserve to win.
Nah, you see, if Nigeria wins this AFCON, we would have to hide under the earth.
So we'll start doing our things properly. They have to win it so that we start doing our things
everyone
properly.
who has not supported them.
When we won it for the fourth
Why
time.
have they beaten South Africa, but we are catching heat?
When we won it for the fourth time.
Why are we the ones
They
catching
didn't
heat?
have one.
They didn't have one.
Look at this. Look at
equal
this.
our records.
You
on
know,
Sunday.
Asisat Oshola.
Yes.
Yes, I know it.
Look at what she tweeted. He says, "Why do I feel this victory paying Ghana past South Africa?"
We beat them for Jollof. Now they are beating us in football.
I'm not gonna lie you. And this guy, Victor Boniface.
That guy has the best Twitter account.
Boniface, see what he wrote about. See what he wrote about there about Ghana after this one. He said, let me just find it. Hey, Ghana, we have suffered Black Stars. Why?
Right now we're canon for that. But yeah, we're canon for that too. Everyone who's looking for troll material.
And we don't look like we are going to change our ways.
No.
Oh, after listening to some vibes
From where?
in recent days
Like
from the posture.
Oh, forget
And
it. You see, there's
why do you
Forget
like I'm crazy?
you see, when people are pretending from afar, you and myself, we can see that these people, they are not genuine people.
Victor Boniface says, Charlie, how far? Of course, you are GH. When your mates did semi-final, you did drag jollof rice.
Boniface will not come the AFCON.
Yeah.
The guy is having the time of his life. Anyway, bottom line is Nigeria are in the final. Okay, congratulations, Omo Niger. You are our cousins. Okay, if you win,
we'll congratulate you.
I'll not.
We'll congratulate you. We'll congratulate them. We are nice like that. They should just reciprocate it by not trolling us.
Too many Nigerian friends saying every time Nigeria wins a game and I can't, I'm afraid to pick my own phone.
No.
Why?
They'll give to you.
The troll. I can't take it, my friend.
No, these are things you also do to them, isn't it? When they lose and you win.
When was the last time the World Cup?
Yeah.
There you go.
The World Cup we take you.
I dragged them for like 2 years. I deserve what I'm getting.
After the things that do you remember the panic? Can you imagine Buhari
not being in Qatar?
Do you know the bilateral relations between Ghana, between Qatar and Nigeria?
It doesn't make sense that Buhari would be.
He says Qatar wants to see Buhari, and Buhari wants to come. Buhari will come.
Yes.
And then there was Amokachi. Some people
nice pitch. Some people are struggling to find a place to play.
We are ready.
And we are ready.
Some people are still looking for pitch.
And that nonsense laughter in the end. The nonsense laughter at the end.
We love Nigerians.
Anyway, let's crack it.
We love Nigeria. So Nigeria in the final Sunday against Cote d'Ivoire. They did it the hard way. Guys, listen. I say this. It was one of the most dramatic games in terms of emotions, because one moment Nigeria were 2-0 up and within 30 seconds it was 1-1. I mean, I don't know, man. Nimble, briefly, this Niger team, they are just doing the impossible. I didn't give them a chance before this competition. I will gladly eat humble pie. I didn't think they would go this far, but they've proven me wrong. Gladly for all Nigerians. But
I did predict that all things being equal, I expected them to get to the semifinal.
yeah.
And so when they got there, if you have followed them for years, you realize that most often than none, when the time they get to the semifinal, they fail to reach the final when they tend to come against the Black Stars of Ghana. We have beaten them in more semifinals than any other country.
That's right. From what I can remember, I remember 92.
We did it to them in Angola. And I think there's another one where we did it to them.
Yes, the other one we did it to them was 2008 at home.
There you go.
I think that was
That
our
was the
quarters.
quarterfinal.
That was the quarterfinal.
So it's like anytime along their path, we happen to pop up. They know that is going to be there.
You see why they don't like us?
That is one of the, in fact, that is one of the fundamental reasons why they don't like us. But look, truth be told, going to the tournament, we've got Victor Osimhen, the most important player on the continent now. All they needed to do was to find a proper balance in midfield. We were worried about their goalkeeping situation. Nobody saw them bringing this goalkeeper along. We didn't know him. I didn't know him.
Nwabali, whoever scouted Nwabali, man, they
But
deserve
I've done
a race.
a good job.
They deserve a race, man.
I was listening to the commentator where he said the coach took that decision just about a week to the tournament to make him the number one.
Yes.
And this is what coaching is all about.
Making bold decisions.
Making bold decisions that look, yes, you've been there, but I think this one is better, so I'm going to go with it. Not somebody who says that a goalkeeper who sat on the bench for 2 years per spiritual matters.
Spiritual uncle.
Look.
They say it's lucky.
These are spiritual matters.
But we've done this before.
How do you see luck?
Haven't we? Namely, we've done this before, haven't we?
But where did it end?
Yeah, exactly. The 2014
Exactly.
World Cup, when we decided that, as for Larson Kwarase, yes, Nesunsum Frebo, like Efre.
It's very
When he's in the bubble, he's very close the ball to Chichini. At the time, he was by our best goalkeeper.
Like, so he invites trouble. Like,
Yeah,
he literally
invites trouble. Bring trouble. So
man.
again, once the coach had sorted out that goalkeeping department, and he needed them to be very solid at the back. Look, they were very worried going to this tournament without Wilfred Ndidi.
Yes.
I was stuck.
Yeah.
We
thought it would have been a big miss.
It would have been a big miss. But the boy from Brentford, what's the name of the chap? The one who plays for Brentford. The one in the number 8 jersey.
Onyeka.
Frank.
Frank
Look,
Onyeka.
he's had one of the best tournament I've
He's
seen
had a good
of
competition.
a defensive midfielder.
Yeah.
And his combo with Alexi Iwobi looks absolutely brilliant.
He's covering up for Iwobi's
exactly.
weaknesses.
They
Yeah.
complement each other. He's not the flamboyant type. He does the dirty job, give it to Iwobi, and he begin to take care of the ball judiciously. And the understanding between Osimhen, Lookman, and Simon. Yesterday, the South African did a wonderful job by making sure that these three guys would just not get going. But true to the Nigerian coach, he never panicked. I think the timing of his substitution was absolutely spot on. There are times where, as a coach, when things are not going well, like they normally do, you want to try a plan B. Because it's like the opponent has gotten used to the chemistry of the front three, so let's change it.
And you know, one of the craziest things I like about this Nigeria team is like a lot of the big players that are being dropped. Like Iheanacho has not started a game.
He's one of
Has
the,
he in this tournament?
He's one of the characters.
But he's coming in this game against South Africa,
You see,
and he scored the winning penalty, and he's happy, and everybody's
Fen,
happy for him.
Fen,
Nobody's making a scene.
That is what you get if there's honesty in player selection. Iheanacho sits on the bench and he looks at those playing in his position and he asks himself, look, if these guys are not better than me, they are just like me. So that could have been me. So let me just sit down and wait for my time and wait for my moment. Because if he's been benched by Lookman,
Or Victor Moses. I said Victor Moses.
Moses
Simon. It will be so unprofessional on his part for
To
him
complain.
to begin to complain. So that is the honesty of their team. So he just sits there, believing in the coach that Assad, when he will be the one to go in there to make that difference, he's ready. When he's called upon, he'll go and get the job done. And we saw it yesterday.
Yeah.
Why was he brought on? He was brought on because the coach knew he was going to be one of the penalty
Of
takers.
course.
And that their experienced defender, the one who won the cup,
Omoro.
Omoro.
Yeah.
Look at the penalty he took.
Yeah.
And that penalty calmed their nerves.
Yeah, he
Like
got,
it was so easy peasy.
if you go back to the clip just before the shootout started, you could see the clear distinction in the emotions of the two teams. The South Africans looked very confident, and the Nigerians kind of confident not being, because there was that fear factor that came from the South
goalkeeper.
African goalkeeper.
You know, and Nimli, that's something I want to take to Achu, because he has spoken about this before. That whole idea of, we've seen it in this tournament where people have gone into the shootout. I don't want to mention names, believing that their goalkeeper will save the day for
Charlie.
them, and it doesn't work out.
And it
No,
didn't
but
work.
see, at the end of the day, if you have that belief, you still should remember that.
You
Your
two, you need to
players-
score.
You
your
have
own.
to score.
And to be fair, in the case of South Africa,
Yeah.
we kind of knew, like everybody's completely forgot about how poor their penalty taking was
Yeah.
in the
Against
game
Cape Verde.
against Cape Verde,
Yeah.
simply because their goalkeeper did a great job.
I said 4 out
But
of 5.
if you paid attention, they only scored 2
Yes.
of their penalties, and it just meant that they needed to come up against a team with better penalty
Takers
takers.
on them.
And that will be it.
And for me, I'm always a believer that the spot kicks or the shootouts is a science. And the science of the penalty kicks always favors the player taking it, and not the
It
goalkeeper.
favors the taker,
It
not the
favors the
goalkeeper.
kicker.
Yeah,
Because-
actually, tactically, that is what coaches do tell their players.
Exactly. Because the player is in control of all the factors at play in determining where the ball ends up. The speed with which the ball moves, the direction.
Okay,
That
first
the
of
ball
all,
moves.
let me help you a bit. Technically, when you see them, when they pick the ball, before
Yeah.
they put the ball on the spot,
Yeah.
they tend to turn the ball. Do you
Exactly.
know what they're looking for?
The sweet
They're looking
spots.
for the valve
Yes.
where we pump. And then that part of the ball is supposed to face the goalpost. That is one of the very
With the
good
sign. What does that do?
Okay, you see,
It
of
affects
all the circumference of the ball, that is the part that has got the most weight.
Yes.
The most weight.
It's true.
So when you hit it from the opposite side and the wind gets involved, it drives the ball faster.
Interesting.
Yes.
So you hit behind the wicket.
Weight.
Yes.
And then the wind gets, then it begins to work.
Yes. So you put the weight behind.
That's
Exactly.
Now, so the player is in control of the direction the ball is going to.
Yes.
The
The
speed.
taker, you mean?
So
Yes.
the technique that Chris Nimley, and often you'd find, and Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, many players, after finding the valve and making sure that it faces the goalpost, will go with the instep.
Yes.
Or no matter the combination, a part of their instep has to be there.
Yeah, because
Right.
you see, that gives you a variation.
Yes.
When you do that, you can go right or left.
Left.
When you begin to go straight at the ball, naturally you not go and hit it straight.
Yeah.
When you get to the ball, you have to balance your body. No, when you balance your body, it tells everybody you are going left. But when you go with that instep, you can whack this way, you can whack that way.
So you have those factors, the direction, the speed, and sometimes even how the ball moves.
That's right.
If you want to bend it towards the goalkeeper or away from the goalkeeper, the player is in control of all of that,
Exactly.
except in windy conditions or very slippery conditions.
Yeah.
That is when, so the
Where John
like
Terry
it happened to
slips.
John, exactly. So you can slip, or the direction of the wind can change the course of the ball. The goalkeeper
Did
can,
Andre Ayew slip against Uruguay?
No, he didn't.
He didn't. That was a
My
very
friend,
poor penalty.
watch that thing. It looks like he slipped.
he didn't,
didn't
slip.
slip.
It was just so the goalkeeper can only guess, right?
Yeah.
So even when we have an informed guess and then the uneducated guess, so the informed guess will be he's done his research, looked at the direction that these players are likely to hit the ball.
Yes.
So the last 5 spots. So that's why when you look at Williams, he guessed where Trustekon was going to hit the penalty. if you look back at
You mean the one
In regular
in
time.
the shootout or
in
the
the
one in
shootouts,
regulation?
in the
time?
shootouts, the last 3 important kicks that
Nigeria
Trustekon
took.
has taken for Nigeria against Cote d'Ivoire, against South Africa in yesterday's game, against the Black Stars.
Yes.
It's always been a similar direction. So clearly, Williams had that information. But at the end of the day, the quality of that kick, in this case, it was the power and the speed, meant that even when he had the direction right, there was little he could do. That's why
But he changed his technique in regulation time.
Exactly.
The penalty.
Yeah.
He didn't go hard.
Yes.
He
It was
went
actually
low.
slow. He just rolled
So
it
it is
below him.
So even after you've done your research, the player at the last minute can change his mind.
True. And you
Right?
can't control that.
And you can't control that.
So
and that's why
what you are
even for-
essentially saying is that, so depending on your goalkeeper to save you,
it's not a good idea. Because look, even just to conclude, you realize that Williams went the right way for I think about 2 of the spot kicks.
Yeah.
And yet the quality of the kicks were such that he couldn't get close enough.
Especially the last one.
Yes.
The
he hit the upright before he entered. How you say that?
He couldn't get close enough. So yes, you can bank on your goalkeeper, but better be sure that your takers are that good.
Fair enough. Look, I think South Africa, I'm very surprised to see that there are people on South Africa Twitter calling for Hugo Bruce to resign. What is wrong with you people?
Did you hear the Chippa United
serious?
CEO on Wednesday?
Saying that he was supporting Nigeria? Yeah.
He
Because
had,
of his goalkeeper.
he had,
Of course.
he had,
Of course, he said he was
Because of his
supporting.
goalkeeper.
Yeah. But
he thinks his goalkeeper is better than the one in goal.
No, his
No,
goalkeeper
he-
is
Nwabili.
Nwabili, who is the goalkeeper
Nigerian
for
goalkeeper.
Nigeria. So he was supporting
yeah,
Nigeria,
even
rooting for
Wabali
Nigeria.
himself said that he had
Wabali,
mixed
yeah.
feelings
Yeah,
because
yeah,
South
because-
Africans have been
yeah.
nice to him. I'm sure by now he has
Settings,
some South African
settings.
babe.
No, but
Set-
how do you have mixed feeling when you're
South African
representing
baby
your country?
girls.
I'm
No,
sure he has some South African baby.
bro,
Yeah.
don't blame Nwabili. South African baby girls
Don't
are
go there.
powerful.
Don't digress. Don't digress.
Fent, we're trying
Don't
to get
digress.
wait. We're trying to
Don't
get into the
digress.
minds. Fent, the guy is not foolish. We're trying to understand why. And do you know how hard Nigerian fans can be?
At times, it amazes
He's
me
aware of the
when an unmarried man speaks about going to continue with the
why are you
This
choosing
dragon, you
violence?
deserve it.
program.
Why are you choosing violence?
We're married.
See, look, I'm just saying.
He says you have no right to talk about women.
Fent,
don't.
I'm just saying. That's what I'm talking about, the goalkeeper. I'm just saying that we have seen how Nigerian fans react to players who disappoint them. They can be very unforgiving.
Yeah.
For Nwabili to look at that and say that, you know what, dog this, the baby girls are more important. Bro, someone has worked.
But you know, we talk about like even the good things that can come to you after a victory, like if you do well for your country. Did you see the video of the crowd that went to Nwabili's father's house
Yeah.
Wow.
to celebrate
Yeah.
with his parents?
That is more touching. That is more
It's
historical.
unbelievable.
$30,000 can give
That
you
is
that.
more historical than
Exactly.
$30,000.
Exactly. You can't do that. But the South Africans who are asking for Hugo Bruce to leave, my friends,
We'll
get
take him.
alive. What is wrong with you? You have not been to an AFCON semi-final since the year 2000. You know how long that is? 24 freaking years. This guy comes, takes you to the semi-finals of the AFCON. In that period, he's only lost 2 games since he took over the South Africa team. If you add Nigeria, that is 3 matches. But even that one is not in regulation time. So
Technically, it's not a loss.
thank you.
Yeah.
And you say, what? World Cup qualifiers are coming. AFCON qualifiers are coming. This guy is on some unbelievable run. What is wrong with you? And by the way, Hugo Bruce himself has only lost 1 AFCON game since he took charge of both
Cameroon and
South Africa. It's unbelievable, his record. Sicho, South Africa were incredibly good against Nigeria.
Yeah, I thought they were better in the semis than
That's
they were
the
in
best game they've actually played.
They were better in the semis than they were in the quarters and the last 16. And listen, they came up against a very well prepared Nigerian side who prepared for all scenarios.
Yes.
And I'll touch a bit on Nigeria, but what I liked about South Africa was that they still stuck to play their game. You know, they didn't.
That's why they'll never change you.
Yeah, I love that
It's
about
what
teams
served them well.
who know who they are and they stick to their methods and they improve what their methods are. Unfortunately for them, on the day they came out against a Nigerian team that prepared for all scenarios. But even that, there were moments in that game that Take a look at the chance from the free kick that rebounded the goalkeeper and
Modal.
With just
Oh,
about
chance
a
for the
minute,
winner.
with just
Modal,
about
a minute
with
to
a
go.
minute to go.
Modal could have, sealed it off for them. But these are the things that happen. South Africa walk away from the competition feeling very happy. And I like the way their front three play. They are not static. They are very mobile. So there are times in them very fluid. There are times where they are versatile. It's a wide player, but it's very much in the midfield. So when Nigeria were trying to create the numerical numbers with their fullbacks in midfield, they've got an extra player in South Africa dropping from the forward positions to counter that. So we didn't see Nigeria dominate midfield as we've seen them in other games. We didn't see Nigeria have it a field day from their back because they would pounce. Evidence would pounce and creating all the
Nigerians
problems.
were carved open a lot.
They really were. And Nigeria had to actually readjust because what Nigeria were doing was when Osimhen led the press and it was backed up by the midfield four who were boxed, the back five tend to also push up. And if you realized, South Africa started using the long balls to get in behind them.
Yeah.
And once Nigeria realized that there was a danger in behind them, they also started dropping deeper. And when Nigeria started dropping deeper, it was good for South Africa because then their backline wouldn't be under pressure, and then there was space for them to build up.
I think the chap in their number 4 jersey, Makwena, the one who takes
Makwena, their midfielder.
Look, that is where I think that he could have been of immense help to the team a bit more. Because it was so appalling that anytime they were to give the ball away, he was the one to do so. He's so important a player to them.
Yeah.
So that you need him. Once they were that dominant, they needed him to be a bit more relaxed, a bit more.
I think even the
composed
red
in the
card
passes.
incident, he gave the
Yeah,
ball
he
away.
was the one who gave the ball away.
Yeah.
And I was telling myself,
I think
Caesar
again it's
and
also
Chris.
because of, even though Nigeria were not looking for the ball a lot, and Nigeria's game plan is very brilliant because even though they didn't have a lot of the ball, I thought at some
Which
point
they've never had in this tournament.
Yeah,
by
I
the
thought
way.
at some point
Nigeria have
it was
had,
planned.
yeah,
Before
It
you
was
go on.
planned because
That is
the
why-
triggers were there.
yes.
And anytime Mokoena got on the ball, one of the best pressers on the continent or even around the world, also happens to be a striker, is Victor Osimhen. He's a nuisance.
Yes.
And we've also seen, as you mentioned, Onyeka. He was sweeping and mopping up everything. And the work rate of Moses Simon and the work rate of Ademola Lookman and Iwobi, it was something that we've not really seen in their game before. But in this tournament, they've been doing it. So as much as Nigeria don't get a lot of the ball, they are also very, very proactive in picking up the balls once you slack. And we saw how the Cameroon considered their first goal. Osimhen bouncing and winning the ball. And then they turned that one into attack. So I think that is one thing Nigeria have. But what I liked about what Posero got to do with this Nigerian team was once momentum switched, they were not arrogant. I've seen teams who have had momentum switch against them and they are still arrogant and feel like they should be leading the tempo of the game. As soon as momentum switched to South Africa,
He quiet.
Nigeria then and then knew that they were up against it, so they had to defend tighter and closer. And so they were looking at just defending in the moment. And if your coach is great and is prepared for all possible scenarios,
That is
take a
coaching.
look at the substitutions for the penalties. Omeru came off the bench for that.
Yep.
Murphy came off the bench for that.
Kelechi.
Iheanacho came off the bench for that.
And all
Just
of them
Collins, their
scored.
penalty taker, of course. Ola Aina had played 120 minutes and missed it.
Yes.
But the 3 players that he brought off the bench
They all
for the
scored.
penalty, that is a
scored.
coach who has prepared for scenarios.
Wow.
And
Understands
credit
his
to
team.
them.
Here's a stat that will blow your mind. Nigeria have had the least average possession in this tournament.
They don't need it.
You
Yeah.
don't need it.
So it just feeds into everything you guys are saying.
Absolutely.
They're happy to let you have the ball.
Yeah.
The average, I think, around 43% possession. in
And
this
it's
tournament.
important to them because in terms of teams who have created and scored the most goals from turnovers, Nigeria lead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
there
Nigeria
you go.
always losing baiting teams to have the ball. And when they don't press haphazardly, they pick their moments to
It's
do
properly
that.
coordinated.
And when they are doing it, they are most often than not winning the ball. And when they win, it's straight away danger.
Transition.
Yeah.
Guys, let's talk about the final now. It's set. Cote d'Ivoire had maybe a more routine semi-final. It wasn't very dramatic against DR Congo. Of course, Halle scored. Should have scored another one. They probably should have won more.
Could have had a hat-trick, Carla.
Yeah, exactly. Probably should have scored. And I think it was probably the one game that we all saw coming in that DR Congo just don't know how to score. Like, it's just the thing about their competition, the whole tournament. They will play, they create, they can't put the ball in the back of the net. Cote d'Ivoire, they got the one goal that was necessary. The atmosphere was brilliant. It was fantastic. Now on Sunday, that is multiply that atmosphere by 10,000 decibels. And Sunday's gonna be
It's going
buzzing.
to be amazing. Because a lot of
Like,
Nigerians
it's
will be flying into
going
Cote
to
d'Ivoire
be
as well.
buzzing.
Yeah.
Guys, it's all set.
Look, I think Nigeria will win.
Okay.
I think Nigeria will beat Cote d'Ivoire, and that is not. I've looked at these Nigerians, and I think they'll beat. The reason why I think they'll beat them is because the very thing that Cote d'Ivoire could use to help them is when Nigeria can stop easily. When you look at Cote d'Ivoire and what has brought them success in the last 2 games, and I think Faye will stick with it, is the wide players they've got. Gradel has been great since he's played. Adingra had his first start of the competition. He was immense.
Got a standing ovation.
Standing ovation. And they've got, a couple of good wingers when they get into the wide areas, they create opportunities. And when you see Cote d'Ivoire play as well, most of their chances are coming in from either Aurier or Singo or whoever, galloping down the line, creating something, crosses into the box for Seb Hela and what have you. But what Nigeria have got to counter that is the back three that they've got, Ajayi, Bassi, Tristikon. They can deal with every single cross that comes into the box because they are brilliant when in dealing with these things. So we've seen teams get balls into the box, but Nigeria have dealt with it. More so, the wide players they use as fullbacks or wingbacks are some of the best 1v1 defenders on the continent. So we saw Ola Aina against Pesitao in the semi-final and in other games. He's just brilliant at waiting for the right moment to.
Ola Aina and Nelson.
Gelson Della of Angola. So they're just if it's even Sanusi who is also defending the wide area, they just wait for the right moment to be able to stop their wingers. So I doubt if Adingra is going to have the day he had in the semis. I doubt if Gradel is going to have the better of these wide players. I think Nigeria will stop them. What Cote d'Ivoire can stop Nigeria from doing is what Posero has brilliantly done with the Nigerian midfield. Onyeka, he will be sitting at the base of the midfield. Instead of Ademola Lookman and Moses Simon playing as wide players, they are playing as inverted wingers who are sitting on top of the base midfield of Onyeka and Iwobi to create a box. Now that numerical,
it's like a 5-2-2-1.
Yes,
sort of.
that numerical advantage they've got.
Positioning usually in the half spaces.
Yeah.
So
They are using the edge of the box,
absolutely,
of the 18 to regulate their movements. So, they are not stepping out of that zone.
Great. So that midfield box that they've got is a superior in number to what Cote d'Ivoire have got in the 3 midfielders they're going to play. Jean-Michel Seri, Sangari, or Fofana, or Kessié. Either 3 of them.
They are not very well spaced.
Absolutely. And the problem then for them is, unfortunately for Cote d'Ivoire, Gradel won't play through the middle, or he will not invest like it will be, or he's not that kind of player. Even if he tries to do it, I wonder how effective it would be. The same for Simon Adingra. If you bring Jeremy Boga, I'm not sure he's the answer. Crasso is not the answer. Whoever you bring on into that part of the pitch is not the answer, unless maybe they change something and go with all of their 4 midfielders to counter what Cote d'Ivoire, what Nigeria. So they could have Sangari, they could have Michel Sarri, they could have Fofana, they could have Kessié. But I'm not sure they do that. And because they wouldn't do that, I think that Nigeria will be very comfortable stopping them at the back, hold the midfield. And when you've got Osimhen causing problems for that back 4 of yours, Osimhen alone can disrupt the back 4.
He's a handful,
that in itself is a problem. So I fancy Nigeria in the final.
No more.
You know what? I do fancy Nigeria, but it is Cote d'Ivoire and it is at home. It is looking more like a host and win.
I mean, namely, if that happens, I would praise the Lord. So I don't have anything. Like, if that happens, I will praise the Lord.
Tactically, it's in favor of Nigeria. But I believe that, you see, on big days like this, the desire just not to fail
And sometimes try any kind of tactics.
Take you beyond the finish line. And I'm afraid once they didn't get booted out of the tournament, when we all thought they will, thanks to the
Cote d'Ivoire have got like 20
Black
lives in this
Stars.
tournament.
I
Like 20
swear,
lives.
I swear.
Thanks to the Black Stars, all we needed to do was to beat Mozambique.
And Morocco.
No, forget about Morocco. If we had beaten Mozambique,
If we win,
they would have been out of the tournament.
Yeah.
Since we didn't do that, it's like we gave them something to thrive on. And watch their game. They've gotten better each and every game after that. And they never thought they would be where they are. And they are there. So, on that day, on Sunday, it will come down to tactics and desire. If you look at this Ivorian team, surprisingly, they tend to move better when Sebastian Haller is on the pitch. When he's not there, they are very reluctant to go long. And their midfielders are forced to be a bit mobile,
Find
which
solutions.
they are not. Kessie, Fofana, Sangari, These are big guys. So until Sebastian Haller got introduced against Mali, they were outrun in the middle of the match. They just couldn't live with the Malians. But go and watch them against
the introduction of Seri.
Exactly. Go and watch them against Congo yesterday. Haller started the game and they could move better because they didn't need to be involved in the transition. They didn't need to involve Kessie, Fofana, and Sangare and in the transition.
So in other words, they didn't need to do a lot of ball carrying.
They
do more ball play.
Rather ball play, and then they can go and meet him because he won.
Because in all the previous matches, Fofana was carrying the ball the whole time.
Because there was
he would take the ball in midfield
and he ran with it. And there was nobody up front there could give them that variation. That is what Sebastian Haller. I'm waiting to see how the two Nigerian centre-back will handle Haller. Haller is a handful in the air, as equally as good as Victor Osimhen.
Yeah.
I think in heading the ball, he's even better. But in terms of hustling, trying to
that aggression.
Is Osimhen all day. So if the Nigerians really do want to win, they need to set the tone between these two marksmen, these two focal points. I think if the Nigerians can get the midfielders of Cote d'Ivoire to be concerned about what Victor Osimhen will be doing to their backline, then Sebastian Haller is going to be deprived of services, and therefore those second balls that the Kessie and then Fofana will want to pick on when they go direct to him will be limited. Then the Super Eagles will keep coming. One other thing that we really need to point out is the fact that Cote d'Ivoire, in my view, will have to put somebody on Alex Iwobi. If you watch the first game that they play, Iwobi completely ran the show. He was a delight to watch. He would pick the ball, pick the short passes, pick the long passes, pick
the
defense.
He's a very different player from the player I knew a few years ago.
Exactly. Now he's refined his game. You see, this is one of my biggest issues with Jordan Ayew. As you mature, you should begin to refine your game to suit.
I think coaches haven't helped Jordan either because we saw him play, for example, in the 10 in the game against Angola, and he was brilliant.
That's right.
So why didn't they continue with that experiment?
That's
anyway,
right.
That's not a Jordan Ayew.
It is looking more like an Ivorian
victory
for me on Sunday. Because look,
so for you, Nigeria.
Yeah, for me, Nigeria.
You, Cote d'Ivoire. For me, Nigeria.
But you see, I'll not be surprised if the Eagles wins it. But
Achu hasn't picked the team yet.
I'm still conflicted a bit.
No, I didn't even finish my sentence.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't say for me, Nigeria, and end it.
I thought you said for you, Nigeria.
I didn't.
Why you're afraid of the insults? Get away.
No. It's because you quickly cut in to ask about
Okay,
Achu.
go
So
on, wrap it up.
for me, Nigeria cannot win this AFCON. Let me finish my.
That was too quick. I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry.
I didn't finish my sentence. For me, Nigeria cannot win this AFCON. If they win the AFCON, they will withdraw the Africa map and add Ghana to Lagos State.
And another reason why maybe they can't win. I don't see how the Ivorians will allow them to beat them for the second time.
But that's another reason why. That's another reason why I think Cote d'Ivoire will lose.
Yes,
Because
Nigeria sat there in Surulere, and then the Cameroon came to beat their neighbors.
No, Cameroon beat them only once.
In
no,
Surulere.
but he's talking about in the same tournament they've met twice.
They've met twice.
He's not sure that they're going to allow them to because they met in the group stages.
I'm not sure because
But
look, even in that first game, it came down to the fine margins.
The penalty. Yeah, but coach, you see, anybody who has a chance and opportunity to watch Cote d'Ivoire play Mali. I want to talk about that midfield box that Nigeria are likely to play or will play. When Mali did the same in that midfield, in the first 75 minutes, they suffocated Ivory Coast. And Mali do not have the personality Nigeria have got. I don't see how Cote d'Ivoire.
You see, that's why I'm highlighting the importance of Haller. In that phase, until Haller got introduced, the Ivorians couldn't live with the Malians. But when the red card came and the coach saw that he needed to introduce Haller, and they start bypassing the press that the Malians were giving them in the middle, started going route one, and he was now dominating the two centre back of Mali. Then Cote d'Ivoire with their 10 men got some, and then they'll be welcoming their right winger, the one who scored the winning goal against Mali.
Diakite is back.
He's been immense.
Yeah, he's back.
the coach has a decision to make. I will start Diakite all day.
Ahead of Gradel?
Ahead of Gradel.
So you want to play those Adingra and Diakite, two very young players who are promising in a big final like that in front of that crowd?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
I want to read something out to you guys.
all right.
Victor Achua has not picked. He said he's conflicted, so keep your conflict to yourself.
Why?
He has to pick. He has to pick.
Yeah.
He has to.
No,
he
no,
can't
let
sit
him
on the
pick.
fence.
Let him pick while you.
Fence, he
Before
cannot
that,
sit on the
before
fence.
There's no before that. We don't have time.
So let him rap because he cannot.
So
we cannot leave the show.
don't
guys.
do before that. So pick.
Look, for me, I think one of the things I've loved about the Nigerians, it's how the team has evolved around to find solutions to the problems. Everyone speaks about Frank Onyeka now, but I think the most important element in Nigeria's evolution was Alassane Yusuf, because his injury changed everything. His injury necessitated a deviation from whatever they had prepared pre-tournament to this back three that we're seeing, to this two holding midfielders and two inverted wing backs that Sicho has beautifully described. What it gives them is the numerical advantage in both the first and the second phase of their build-up. So even when they are defending, it's still the same. So they have players in areas. And often when we talk about...
Who is winning?
Calm down.
What is the kids' points?
Calm down.
Who is winning?
Often when we talk about how teams are able to adjust to some of these scenarios, it is difficult for us to look at even the negatives because everything looks so good. But one of the things that has served Nigeria well is also one of the weaknesses, I think, if Ivory Coast can find a solution to, they will exploit. And that's Alexi Iwobi. In the last 3 matches that Nigeria have played, half of the chances they have conceded have come from the side of Alexi Iwobi. And it's for the simple fact that he is not a natural holding midfielder.
That's right.
He doesn't have the instincts to understand and react to the potential spaces that will open up. So you saw that against South Africa, everything that South Africa wanted to do, they went straight to that side and then pass it out.
That's why if the Ivorians can target him,
it's something that can help them. I think that if they throw in an extra midfielder and sacrifice Max Gradel, throw in an extra midfielder because when you are building up, you have to confront what Nigeria have, and they are not going to deviate from that strategy. You are going to see exactly the same lineup and structure that we have seen from the second game that they played up until now against Ivory Coast, coincidentally. If you go with your midfield three, and this time around, be a bit smarter. Make sure the midfielders are not too far apart. The spacing that we've seen so far has been criminal because, and I was watching the game against DR Congo. One of the things Ivory Coast wanted to do, and it was a simple tactic, was be very direct in the attack. So right from the first phase, find Seko Fofana straight to Adingra. The idea was that you have someone who can play a high volume of passes, but it is also a ball carrier. So he can mix it up. Based on the situation, whatever it requires, he has the skill set to produce that. Adingra is tricky, he's quick, and his end product is brilliant. He can get the balls into the penalty area. Unfortunately for Ivory Coast, all of that worked. They managed to put 8 crosses into the box yesterday. However, they could not bury any of those chances, bar the one that Seb Hale took. Against Nigeria, they would have to be a bit more clinical. And I respected what they did yesterday more because it was the same template that we had seen them do all tournaments. But when DR Congo required them to find variety, we saw them do it. And so you realize that half of the chances that they created came through the combination of the right fullback, Frank Kessie, and then the right winger. So yes, everybody knows that the gold mine is the Simon Adingra and then Seko Fofana combination. But when teams figure that out, when teams stop that, they are able to find that solution through other players. But if it is going to work, you need the midfielders to be a bit closer to each other so that when they lose possession, they can quickly react. Because you have to recognize that these guys have played more minutes and they have covered more ground than any other team, thanks to the red card that they suffered against Mali. And also the fact that that game itself had to travel extra time. So it is going to take its toll on the Ivorian team. You need to plan the game in a manner that reflects an appreciation of that. But also, more importantly, whatever you do, have a plan for Alexi Iwobi when you're attacking. Look, if we saw how uncomfortable Calvin Bassey looked in the opening 20 minutes of that game, it was because Zaid Sanusi was not there and was required to move out of the space. So previously, when Bassey has looked good, it's been because he was complementing Zaidu Sanusi, mopping up that half space. But if Nigeria can target that space between the left wing back and then the holding midfielder, the left wing back and then the left centre back, because that is the space Alexi Iwobi has to occupy when Nigeria are defending.
Can you see the situation where the Ivorian coach decided to go like for like in terms of tactics? Also go a back three, because we've also seen them go a back three against Mali when they got the red
It
card.
won't work because Nigeria have monsters in 1v1 situations.
The other difference too then would be it's the adaptability of, and this is why Chukwueze hasn't played much.
Yes.
The adaptability of Moses Simon's ability to play more central and not as a winger.
And be disciplined.
And also the other winger in Ademola Lookman to play more central and not wide is the reason why the Nigeria back three is
comfortable.
Tricky. If MS5 goes 1v1 and tries to mark them out, you wonder if Adingra has got what it takes to do it. You wonder if Max Grado has got what it takes to do it, or any other winger. So he will play a 5.
If he decides to go a back three, then obviously he has to change personnel.
Forget about the forwards who have to do the tracking.
Does he have the
Yes, I think he has.
Forget about the forwards who have to do the tracking. The most important factor for me is that when you look at the Nigerian defense, each of them is a 1v1 monster. So Ola Aina comes against I keep forgetting his name. Gelson Dalla. At that point, he was the best player in the tournament. Created the most chances, scored the most goals. Yet, Ola Aina neutralized him. Kenneth Omeri, when he came in for Trustekon, made more interceptions and won more 1v1 incidents than half of the defenders in the tournament in one game. We've seen what Trustekon does. Conversely, the Ivorian defense and the centre-backs especially are error-prone.
Yeah. They don't have the best partnerships.
So even when they don't have to go 1v1, they are making errors. So if you expose them to those situations, it will be a recipe for disaster.
So who is winning?
Ivory Coast.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I'm the only Nigerian here. Omo, I be your people. Now me be your guy. Omo, now me be your guy. Make you not remind these people. Now me be your guy. Omo, Niger. Now me the winner.
They won't have a voice.
You know they carry last.
They won't have a voice after the match.
Okay, guys. Interesting. So that's a wrap on the AFCON final. So we'll see what happens. When we're back here for the next episode, we'll see who's right. But if Nigeria wins, I'll be in Lagos to celebrate with Lagos babes. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe, okay? Like and share this podcast. Mallam, go. We're back again. Of course, thank you so much. We appreciate all of you.